Here at the Single Malt Review, we like to keep it pretty clean and stay responsible, but today I'm feeling reckless. Feel like something stolen.
Gag complete.
Now, excuse me, or I jump cut and dispose of his coat.
We'll see.
Alrighty.
We'll see. Alright, so yes, as Dave suggests, this is Stolen Rum, Stolen Dark Rum to be specific. A rum that was requested, a rum from, well, by way of the Caribbean, from New Zealand, something of our very own. And it's, as the litre bottle might suggest, not a fine rum. It's not really positioned as a fine rum. Didn't stop at winning a gold at the San Francisco Awards way back in 2013. I wonder if they're still putting that on the bottle. But yeah, it's a tidy wee rum brand that we have down here. Goodness knows why it became a New Zealand thing to blend their own Caribbean rum, but it seems successful enough. The company's been around, and the brand has been around for ages and ages now. So has this bottle, conceivably from 2013, so this could be some fairly vintage stuff, but I mean the lid's been on, so...
Are there any clues about which rums have gone into it?
No, I didn't really look exhaustively. Caribbean is... that narrows it down just slightly, but Caribbean's still a big place. I haven't actually tasted this for years and years and years, so I'll do a bit of guesswork as we start to taste it.
It's 57.5%, so back in the days when that was one of the standard spirit strengths.
Well, it still is now. I think that you buy a bottle of this today, it's still probably that, because it is, of course, like most rum, unregulated, and so they can pull things like 37.5, which I don't like. That's one of my real bugbears in spirits is when things turn up under 40% ABV, under 80 proof, if you're in America. That really just, that just seems like they're cheapening a spirit when they do that, because 40% is, I think, the strength to which a spirit should not really go below unless you've mixed it with ice or a cocktail, and so to have it under, it always confuses me. But anyway, we won't judge it too harshly.
I give it as dark rum, but this is slightly ridiculous. That's about the colour of Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
I'm assuming there may be some colour shenanigans going on.
I'm fairly sure there's some, if not quite a lot.
Prehistorically barrel-aged rum.
Coca-Cola's like flat Coca-Cola, that's almost exact. We could be using dummy Coca-Cola for this stuff. But
except in the bottle, it's got a curiously red hue to it. We can't see it on camera, but from here... Anyway,
so it's a value rum, I suppose. Value rum, a budget rum, a cheap rum.
Yeah.
It's sold pretty much with the assumption, speaking of Coca-Cola, that it's going to get mixed. It's one of those. They have other types. They have a white rum, which I have utilised in the past. It will make a perfectly serviceable daiquiri, but this is the one that you'd really, this is the one you'd consider having neat, as it were, as we will be today. So, on the nose.
Well, first off, it doesn't have an overwhelming hit of sweetness and vanilla. That's good.
It doesn't.
It's a little drier.
Unlike other rums we've tasted recently, it doesn't smell immediately artificial.
Yeah.
It smells pretty genuine. There's no vanilla essence spiraling out of the glass here, and there's no really, really overt sweetness, and that's really good. And all up, it has a fairly dry nose. I mean, in rum terms anyway, all rum smells pretty sweet because it smells of sugar, but fairly restrained, fairly dry, and I don't mind it at all. It's not exactly complex. There's some sort of brown sugar, a wee bit of molasses, tiny bit of treacle,
and just a little bit of fruit, some maybe banana.
Yeah, there's a wee bit of fruitiness. Banana. Ooh, banana might be a stretch for me, but there's a wee bit of fruitiness there, like a tropical fruitiness, and just a hair of spice. There's quite a bit of cinnamon.
Yeah, very hint of cinnamon, a little bit of ginger, and maybe some dried apricot.
I said this one was New Zealand by way of the Caribbean. This is, to my knowledge, blended here in New Zealand and tankered in from the Caribbean. So whether it's aged there or here, I say aged, I'm not sure if this is particularly barrel aged or whether it is treated in some other way. It might be oak chipped or staved or even flavoured for all we know. One of the many problems rum faces is that there is simply no rules, and so it doesn't matter what you've done to it. You don't have to say on the bottle, and it won't disqualify it.
Although in the Caribbean, I understand
rum.
a lot of the major rum producing centres which do take care to produce a quality product.
There's a few rum regions which do their best to sort of protect rums carrying their regional name. We've been told recently that Martinique is particularly good with regards to keeping anything listed as Martinique rum fairly regulated and fairly high quality. So that's good to see. Anyway, let's dive in and see what it's got.
Oh, that is complex and curious.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not hugely sweet on the palate either. I think there is a little bit of sugar in here, I think, but it's, especially considering some of the ones we've tried, very, very restrained.
Yeah.
It remains a drier than average rum.
There's a good hit of buttery Jamaican ginger loaf on the tongue, then some cloves, a little bit of that fruitiness, and a little bit of acid, a little kind of a sharpness too.
Yeah, it does get the mouth sort of watering. It's quite a good peppy rum, I should say. It's not a spiced rum, but to me it's somewhat defined by its slightly spicy nature.
Yeah.
There's still cinnamon in there and lots of ginger, as you said, and to me I'm getting quite a hard tell towards cola nut. I can't seem to quite get away from the Coca-Cola today, but that sort of cool, difficult to describe other than saying cola. There's quite a cola flavour going on here, which is not unpleasant in rum at all.
And noticing the palate is quite at odds with the nose. There was a lot of spice on the tongue, but not much on the nose, and a lot of his other characters where it's just coming through stronger on the palate versus what the nose might make you think you're going to expect.
Yeah.
And despite being under 38%, it's still very full flavoured. It's not coming across as insipid or watery.
Well, under 40%. But
well, 37.5. It's really well done.
It's that I think I can. I mean, it might be partially my prejudice against underproof things talking, but that I think flattens the palate a wee bit. That just tastes, it dulls things just a wee bit, having that low proof.
I'd prefer it at a higher strength too. Sure, just that this one is not. It's not disappointingly flaccid. Something of that strength.
By and large, it's pretty reasonable as a rum that sort of bridges the gap between something you could fairly happily sip, because I'm fairly happy sipping this just at the moment. I've got no complaints, that's for sure. And a rum that you'll be throwing into your tiki drinks and whatever else you like to use rum for, even if it's not really built as a sipping rum, which this one very much is not, and nor is it priced as one. So I think you're getting probably, depending on what you're in for, just a wee bit more than your sort of a wee bit more than your price tag would assume for this one. It's actually pretty reasonable rum, and especially comparing it to as of this moment, I haven't actually produced that video, but comparing it to, we'll call them Indian rum, which we've tried recently, it is of starkly higher quality. So that's something, really. And I mean, it didn't win a gold at the San Francisco for nothing. You know, they don't mark hardest in the world over there, but they have a system. So it did manage to. It went up against probably, well, I can guarantee, way more expensive rums to come out with the gold. So it definitely has its own thing going on.
It's quite affordably priced in our market, at least, isn't it?
Oh no, it's one of the cheapest rums you can get, really, in a litre bottle anyway. Cheaper than Morgan's, that's for sure, and that's probably the closest thing you'd compare it to.
Right.
Poor old Morgan's, how it has fallen from its previous point of glory, but that's maybe a future video if I can get hold of some modern Morgan's, do a bit of a comparison. But anyway, that's pretty much the sum of Stolen's dark rum. I don't have any of the other versions with me, but given that we're fairly pleased with this one, I might sort of hunt them down if I can find them in slightly smaller bottles. We'll see. Takes a little bit too long to dispose of an entire litre of fairly ordinary rum. But at any rate, I think it's a very easy recommendation. So I hope I forget exactly who requested it, but they know who they are. I hope that was useful. Easy one to recommend, easy one to enjoy, and for a score, you could see it spinning away, couldn't you? No, not today. Not at that part of the afternoon just yet. Score for this one, I'd probably give this one a pretty even 76. Oh. It's a pretty solid old rum. Not a fine rum, not priced as a fine rum, not presented as a fine rum, so that's fine. But as a workhorse rum, I think it's really good. What do you think?
Yeah, I've rated it a 72. It's tasty, it's inviting, it's not an overwhelming flavour sensation, and it's not trying to be either. It's a good blended rum. It's not sweetened or altered artificially or to heck. Perfectly enjoyable. And a good economical buy. Yep,
no, good rum, and I think a style of rum that other cheaper rums could stand to follow. Yeah. I think there is way less sugar in here than in a pretty illustrious range of brands presenting 20-year-old Solera rums. So there's a lot to be said for that. At any rate, that was Stolen, almost forgot the name already, Stolen Dark Rum. As I say, I will try and track down the other ones so that we can have more of a complete range in front of us. But for now, that will just have to do. Right, on to something else. Slanger, this has been the Single Malt Review. Thank you for watching. We will be right back.